What's up, Taiwan? I'm Eric Gao. Thanks for joining us for the news this evening. Former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley, says that it's the U.S. that needs Taiwan, not the other way around. Speaking here in Taipei, she says Washington should do more to prevent a conflict in the region. Jaime Ocon was there.
Former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations and Republican presidential contender Nikki Haley says the war in Ukraine is a wake-up call for what could happen to Taiwan. Addressing the media here in Taipei, she says that it's important for the world and the U.S. to not get distracted about the threats facing Taiwan, highlighting China as the biggest threat. Brushing off comments from Trump about Taiwan not paying enough for its defense, she thinks that the U.S. needs to do more to offer help to deter a conflict in the Taiwan Strait.
I think the United States should immediately increase its training that we do with the Taiwanese military on all aspects. I also think that we should increase the amount of weapons that we send to Taiwan so that they can be prepared.
Haley has been in Taiwan for the past few days, speaking at a forum here in Taipei, advocating for Taiwan to become an observer in the UN, also meeting with President Lai Ching-te. Her visit comes just a few months before the U.S. presidential elections. Haley, once a presidential contender, has thrown her support behind Donald Trump, as she thinks he is the better choice for the U.S. to show strength in the face of China's aggression.
In your speech at the Karagan Forum, you kind of made a case for a heavy U.S. presence in the world, pointing to alliances, strengthening alliances and support for Ukraine and Taiwan. And endorsing Donald Trump for president, he seems to have maybe different views on that issue, but do you think a second Donald Trump presidency would bring the U.S. closer to that role that you're envisioning rather than a Harris administration would?
So it's not what I think, it's what I witnessed. And what I know is that we did show American strength in the world. And you saw that we pushed back against China. What I would assume is Kamala Harris is going to do exactly what Joe Biden has done. When Hamas invaded Israel, when Russia invaded Ukraine, where was Kamala Harris? She was in the Situation Room right next to Joe Biden. She was there making the exact same decisions. Those decisions have made the world less safe.
Haley says that the goal of her trip is to show the United States why Taiwan matters, pointing to the country's leading semiconductor industry and management of the COVID-19 pandemic. At the end of the day, she says it's not that Taiwan needs the United States, but that the United States needs Taiwan. Annie Shre and Jaime Ocon in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
U.S. citizens living here in Taiwan have gathered in support of U.S. Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris. Even though they live outside of the U.S., they say they still have a huge stake in the elections. Tiffany Wong reports.
The U.S. Democratic National Convention just ended after a lively 4 days, and now about a dozen Americans living in Taiwan have gathered to watch highlights from the event. They played speeches from Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris, her running mate Tim Walz, and party heavyweights, including former President Bill Clinton and former Democratic nominee Hillary Clinton. Now, many of the attendees have not lived in the U.S. for years, but they say that this year's election is of special importance to them.
So you need a candidate who's looking forward, who wants to make things better, and not dwell on the past, not dwell on their own petty grievances and stuff like that. And so she's a forward-looking candidate. Funny, over the time I've been in Taiwan, it's kind of been an inverse relationship between Taiwan growing more democratic, and in the States I've seen a trend where it's become less democratic. And if the two countries both want to grow together and have stronger relations, they both need to be strong democracies. And only the democracy is going to come to the help of Taiwan.
I mean, I think there's nothing more important in this election than the future of the American democracy and the American experiment, and the choice could not be more clear. There's so many issues that are important in this election. I think the first and foremost is restoring abortion rights to ensure that every woman can make her own choices about her body with her doctors and not with politicians. I think second is ensuring that the American experiment and democracy is strong.
The U.S. election, it's actually have a very strong global effects around the world, especially for Taiwan. The security situation in Taiwan depends on, the U.S. has a stable system and a stable political system. So actually, if we can contribute to some effort to that end.
There are over 11,000 Americans living in Taiwan, and the event organizers also shared information on how to register to vote by mail. Now, although this event was small, they're hoping that their candidates' momentum can grow at home and abroad ahead of November's elections. Justin Wu and Tiffany Wong in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
China has lifted a long-standing travel ban that barred its tourists from visiting Taiwan's outlying Matsu Islands. Now, although this only applies to travelers from Fujian province, people in Matsu are hoping that it's a sign of things and business opportunities to come. Sandy Chi has the details.
For the first time in years, tourists from the eastern Chinese province of Fujian will be able to travel to Taiwan's outlying Matsu Islands, located just 19 kilometers off their coast. That's after Beijing announced the end of years of travel bans on Thursday, removing restrictions on both group and independent travel. The first visitors from China arrived in Matsu the next day, and Taiwan is preparing to welcome more.
在下个月开始，我们马祖的服务中心也将正式来开始运作。台湾政府一直采取就是开放的态度，那整个关键和阻碍当然在对岸，那所以我们希望所谓交流是有来有往。
Meanwhile, as Chinese tourists eye trips to the Matsu Islands, residents on Taiwan's other outlying islands, Jinmen, located just 2 kilometers from China, are also hoping to soon welcome a wave of holidaymakers.
应该有机会在近期呢能够来成型。大陆旅客到金门旅行一直以来都是金门最大的境外旅客来源。
It's been years since Taiwan last hosted Chinese tourists. China banned independent travel to Taiwan in 2019, citing the poor relationship between their governments. Then group travel was suspended in 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. For Taiwan's part, its Mainland Affairs Council says they will continue to welcome Chinese visitors and the tourism dollars they bring to both its main and outlying islands. Chris Ma and Sandy Chi for TaiwanPlus.
New footage from the Philippines shows a Chinese fighter jet firing flares near one of its aircraft in the disputed South China Sea. The Philippine aircraft was conducting a routine patrol in the sea on Thursday, close to an island controlled by China. Footage shows what the Philippines says are military sites on that island, as China tries to enforce its claims in the region, which are not internationally recognized. The Chinese fighter came within 15 meters of the Philippines plane. The Philippines is denouncing the maneuver as dangerous and provocative. At least 2 people are dead as several wildfires burn across southeast Brazil. The blazes are near the country's financial center, Sao Paulo, and have spread quickly, fueled by dry conditions and strong winds. Farmland and forests have been destroyed by the fires. Courts have ruled in favor of the managers of a famous art village in Taichung after being sued by the city government. The courts found that Rainbow Creative Company, who managed Rainbow Village, did not violate property rights when some of the landmark's colorful murals were painted over in 2022. The village gained fame after Army veteran Huang Yongfu decorated the buildings to save them from demolition. Huang died at age 100 earlier this year. Taiwanese Paralympians who medal at the 2024 Games in Paris will receive even bigger rewards this year.
帕运金牌的选手奖助金从400万元提高到600万元，可以按月领，每个月3.1万元。
Other medalists and coaches will get increased prize money too. President Lai Ching-te made the announcement at a ceremony seeing off Taiwan's athletes. 13 athletes will represent Taiwan in 7 events, including table tennis, badminton, and archery. Table tennis star Tian Xiaowen, who brought back Taiwan's only medal from the 2020 event in Tokyo, will compete again this year. Their Paralympic Games begin on August 28th. A team at a historic military village in western Taiwan has discovered new evidence of its use during the Japanese colonial period.
修车的一个车道的一个车沟，好，那这个都是当时在日据时期战争的时候所建设的一个临时设施虽然是临时设施，但是也展现了当时的一个历史的一个脉络对虎尾建国政策未来的整体规划以及发展具有特殊的意义。
A group doing restoration work at the Jianguo Military Dependence Village in Yunning found the remains unexpectedly. The settlement was used by the militaries of both Japan and later the KMT to house their dependents. The village was largely abandoned after the Cold War. Excavation of the site is ongoing. An international theater production group has just extended its contract to be headquartered here in Taiwan, promising to bring more diversity and sustainability to theater practices in the country and around the world. Reese Ayers reports from Kaohsiung.
Here in the world's largest performing arts centre, the continuation of a key partnership linking Taiwan to the world through the power of performance. OSTAT, or the International Organization of Scenographers, Theatre Architects and Technicians, have just agreed to be headquartered in Taiwan for another 5 years, in partnership with Taiwan's Culture Ministry.
I think it's a very important step for both parties. It means the continuation of our partnership in the next 5 years, that we will continue towards our goals that include to promote sustainability and also to promote more opportunity for the next generation.
Originally founded in Prague in 1968, the NGO has been based in Taiwan since 2006. It provides a global network for people in theatre production and hosts symposiums about industry practices. In addition to extending the contract, this event is also a forum on sustainable theatre practices and how to bring diversity to the stage, gathering industry professionals from around the globe to exchange trade practices.
There's global initiatives to look at sustainable theatre buildings, architecture, technology and processes, such as the Theatre Green Book initiative, which came out of the UK, which has now been adapted to multiple languages, multiple countries all around the world, including Taiwan.
The forum is also a moment to recognise Taiwan's contributions to the industry.
There were some groups from Taiwan and artists from Taiwan went to showcase there. I was absolutely amazed how they was using already some cutting-edge technology and using motion capture for the dance and involving the audience. Was beautiful.
The partnership is yet another feather in Taiwan's cultural cap, as the country continues efforts to anchor itself as an international destination for the arts. Alex Chen and Rhys Ayres in Kaohsiung for TaiwanPlus.
A community hub in Taichung is helping older people find happiness and a little extra cash with the help of some feathered friends. Sandy Chi is back with this report.
A bit of love and care for these chickens. These feathered friends are a source of happiness for many elderly people here in the mountains around Taichung in central Taiwan. The chickens have brought comfort and joy to older people here, particularly 66-year-old Wu Xide. Once a manual laborer, he fell ill in his 40s, making it difficult to support his family. By the time he was 50, he was no longer able to work at all. But a local support group soon helped him find a new purpose in life. The planned community hub provides older people with opportunities to look after and raise chickens, and the chance to earn a little extra cash.
你知道那种开心是不是单单那个钱，是身为人的价值，就是他不但他有收入，那他也可以帮助家庭，还可以做他想要做的事情。
Wu originally began raising chickens to support himself financially, selling eggs and earning around $180 a month.
用唱歌的方式说：“鸡宝宝，鸡宝宝，赶快生蛋！阿公没有钱哦，你赶快生蛋哦！”我说我要用钱，我就用唱的。
But raising his chickens soon turned into something much more meaningful.
我们就残障人士整天在家里窝着，可以讲说这个鸡在救我的生命一样。人啊，心里快乐就是良药嘛。这里蛮多的。
Wu is just one of over 100 elderly people who visit the community hub. While not everyone here has the opportunity to become a chicken farmer like Wu, they all come away with a few new feathery friends and a lot of joy. Chris Ma and Sandy Chi for TaiwanPlus.
Thanks for joining us for What's Up Taiwan. Grab our app to get more of our reports on your mobile device. Finally, check out these fans and cosplayers at the annual Anime NYC convention. I hope to go someday. I'm Eric Gao. Take care, and we'll see you next time.